fucked up another Miata.
But it's mine. Yeah, so today I actually bought some stuff for my car, which is funny because it actually cost more than I paid for the car. And if you looked at the car, you wouldn't think I cared about it. But time to care about it. So these are all new bushings for the control arms, wheels, tires, suspension, coilovers, and then I got little lug nuts and hub centering rings to make sure the wheels fit on the hubs properly. This thing is needing some love. It definitely shows it's 208,000 miles. And because it's not pretty, there's no reason for me to clean it. But hopefully that'll all change soon once I get all these in. I ended up getting MeisterR ZetaCRD Coilovers, SuperPro Bushings. The bushings have offset so that I can get a little bit more camber and a little bit more caster where I want it. The wheels are Konig Hypergrams. They're 17 by 10 plus 43. Then I have two 55s all the way around. I ended up going with Riken Raptors because I'm cheap and it's just a daily, so I'm not putting expensive wheels on this or tires on this.
Raptors on my Cobra.
Dude, Riken Raptors, I've actually had them on a few cars. They're wonderful tires for the cheapest you could buy.
They would spin at like 65.
Yeah, they don't have grip. But like driving around town, you're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then this will probably be getting paint because we have a paint booth, so why not? All right, I'm gonna get started taking everything apart, and then we'll get to the bushings first, because for me, the coilovers are easy peasy. The bushings, there's a lot of them. I have a lot to do with that. And then we'll get the wheels on, and we're going to roll the fenders with our handy dandy bits. All right, so I'm gonna do the other side without filming, but this is what I did. I took out the upper control arm. I'm gonna also take out the strut, because this is the easiest time to do it, and I'll put the new coilover in. The ball joint, I mean, sure, I squished the boot a little bit, but it's fine. There's no issues there. I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna read the instructions in a little baggie, but I'm pretty sure I have to burn these out because I don't see how I'm going to press them. And it's probably much easier to burn them. So we'll go burn them. I'm gonna get the other side out. Once I have this side done and the coilover in, I'm gonna take the lower control arm off because I hate having this held up by anything other than what it's supposed to be held up by. So I just made it, you know, able to hang. That way all this is loose and we don't have to support it or anything. And then I'll get this one up, put it back together. It'll just sit where it needs to, and we won't have to worry about it again. And I'll be able to do the lower ones. The rears are going to be a little bit more, not complicated, just I have more to do because there's 5 arms for this rear. I don't know if I got bushings for all of them, but we're going to find out. And then the coilovers I have to go in the trunk to get. Got the bushings burned out. So what we have to do now is there's this little piece of metal that's still in here. Either, you know, if you weren't burning them out, you'd be pressing that out completely. But since we burned them out, I have a little hacksaw here. You can just take it off, put it on, or put it together with it in there. And you just sit here and hacksaw it until we're through a little piece in there. And then I can bend that out of there and we can get it out. So I'm gonna do that with all 4 of these. We're gonna get this chopped away so we can put the new bushings in, and then I'll show you the offset for more camber on the bushing. All right, so I got the little sleeves that I was talking about out. My air hammer gave me some trouble, and I ended up using a Sawzall instead of the hacksaw because the Sawzall goes quicker, so you know, be a little bit more careful. I cleaned up any of the little burrs that I got in here from hitting it out. This is what we're doing with these bushings, okay? So you can see the fatter side goes on the outside, the skinnier side goes on the inside, and then this is how we're going to control camber. So down here it has two things. So this is what is normally there. This one will give you more camber. This one will give you less camber. So because of what we're doing and because of the big wheels on there, we're going to be doing more camber. When it's all done and aligned, I'll probably be going for like 3 degrees. 3 degrees is probably the most you want to do on daily tires to not have them be completely destroyed by excess wear, but toe is more important than camber when it comes to wearing tires. I've had -2 to -3 degrees for dailies for years and never had any tire wear issues, just because I had an actual alignment that gave me the right toe. This grease is what you slather on all this shit. And so we're just going to put it on the inside edges, the smaller one that we're going to push through. We're going to put it around here. It's not really grease to let this spin. It's just grease to make it a little nicer to put in. And then it's actually kind of sticky, so it just kind of helps hold it in the arm. And as for our press, I'm going to be using big channel locks because it's just easier to put it in there and squeeze. Alright, so we got both of them done. You can see they're on the more camber setting, which is really just you spinning them in there. So we're going to throw these on. I'm going to get the coilovers in. That way we're done with that part of it. And then I can do the lower arm. And then on to the rears. We have the upper arm in. I just wanted to show you this because of what I was talking about, where now the upper arm is holding the hub because the lower arm is out. What I did to get the lower arm out, so there's the big bolt. Where are you? There you are. So this guy's for the ball joint. Just loosen that, put it on like 2 or 3 threads, and then I had a 4-pound sledgehammer whack the side here. I still have the other arm in right now, but I'm going to do one at a time here. As for the camber bolts, the cam locks or whatever, just make sure that you keep them to where the fat sides are on the same side. And then what I did was I drew a little mark, and it's kind of hard to see, but I drew a little mark right there. You can kind of see it coming out of the top of my finger. And that will give me a good idea of where the alignment was. Granted, I'm lowering the car as well, so it's kind of going to be out of the way, and it's kind of going to be not good, right? It's going to be close enough, though. At least, you know, for the couple of days that I drive without going to get an alignment, I won't destroy my tires. Also, we're going to do a little makeshift alignment. We're going to use a tape measure and just make sure my toe is somewhat straight. Steering wheel is going to be crooked, but I just want the toe to be somewhat straight, front and rear, because then I won't have to worry really at all about my tires. Just, you know, my steering's going to be a little off. But I'm going to go over what I have to do with this. Once I have the new ones in, I'll explain to you what I did, but we're replacing 3 bushings on this one. This bushing, which is for caster, it's also sometimes called a compliance bushing because it keeps the arm from going forward and backwards. This is just the inner bushing, and then this one's for the strut. So you can see this one was very needed, very bad. All right, so pardon me, I like working on the floor. But as for the lower arm, it takes 3 kits. So these are the 3 kits I'm using for this arm. The first one, the inner front, so this one's further forward on it, but it's also the inner part of the control arm, has these ones. They also have the offset sizes, so skinny going on the skinny side, fatter going on that side. These ones are just normal center. We're not changing anything. These are for the strut, so the strut goes there. It's new bushings for that, so these shouldn't be too bad there. This one is a little complicated. So as for how this works, these are just like the upper camber ones, but these are for casting. So as what this says is, if the front of the vehicle is this way, then the hole is actually going to be like facing towards the engine pretty much. And that gives us more caster. So we're going to be going for that. These sit on top of it, give it a little bit more strength, and then this gets shoved through it. It is the next day. Yesterday I got everything done with the front. I rolled the fenders a little bit with a bat. Today I wanted to roll them a little bit more because I still heard a little bit of rubbing on the way home. Not terrible, but there was a little bit. So I grabbed a body hammer and a dolly since the car's gonna be getting painted soon. So I just did a body hammer and flattened everything. You can kind of see it's flat. So I had a tiny bit of rub when this was nowhere near flat, but now it is, so we shouldn't have any. So I did my own alignment, which essentially is just a tape measure, and I pick a point on the wheel and measure that same point side to side, front and back of the wheel, and that allows me to adjust the toe. I was actually impressed. I was driving home, steering wheel was crooked. I'm not perfect, but I let go of the steering wheel and it drove straight until it hit a bump. So, not doing bad. As for the rear, you can see with the wheels in how it's gonna kind of sit. I did the same rolling job back here, which I did a little bit of damage to the quarter, but we can fix that when we do the paint. I got everything adjusted the way I want. Ride height is within an 1/8 inch front to rear. It fits really nice. My little roll had more than enough. The rear has a little less camber than the front. I might fix that when I get it aligned. Successfully, we'll call it, maintenanced my Miata.